Fred wins the award for brightest room of the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, I should put it in the dark and have some mood lighting and look evil.
No, Jimmy's is dark, but he still doesn't look evil.
He's so fucking silly that he's always, doesn't matter how dark it is.
I can't help it.
Well, good evening, weirdos, and welcome to yet another edition of Livin' Cruddy with Cruddy Joe. I'm Cruddy Joe, and I'm here with my buddies, the Getty Along Gang. We have handsome Jimmy Hansen and the wizard, the full bug, Mr. Gino Roy Coffinberry. And our special guest tonight is a director, an actor, a writer, a special effects guru, and he's the founder and president of Toe Tag Pictures, spreading the sickness since 2002. Mr. Fred Vogel, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good. Coincidentally, Jimmy spreads the sickness too, but he's only been doing it the last year, and it's just COVID.
Oh, okay.
Since they invented COVID.
Yeah. I was wondering if if we have to change that moniker now. You know what I mean? Start scaring people off.
No, never.
Never.
Just as long as you don't watch COVID zombies, you'll be good.
Well, Joe said we got Fred Vogel coming on, so I hopped on Instagram and started following you recently, and I expected to see a ton of gore stuff and crazy over the top, but you're mostly on about like Frankenstein and the classics and stuff, and that's basically what I'm into. Hopefully we can connect on some level there. I see you got some pretty cool stuff behind you there.
Well, I love the classics. I think to be a horror aficionado, you need to watch it all, and that's something that I do is, I try to watch as much as I can. And I especially love the classics. If it wasn't for Frankenstein, I wouldn't be making movies today.
Right. I see you got some, they look like some pretty major Frankenstein ink. Is there any way we could take a look at that?
Oh, yeah.
And is this, Lon Chaney from London After Midnight?
Oh, yeah.
There's the Bride of Frankenstein.
You're mainly into Karloff. Right?
Karloff, yeah, absolutely. When I saw Frankenstein for the first time, I was like 5 years old. The Frankenstein monster was like the first thing I was ever attracted to.
Right.
I didn't know what it was that attracted me to it, but I loved it, and I started drawing it. I was obsessed with it. And, growing up in the 80s, when you went to Toys R Us, there'd be awesome, cool Remco monsters on the wall, you know what I mean? To get, I was lucky getting to get, a chance to get Frankenstein toys, especially back in like the early 80s. It was a good time.
When I was a kid, my friends and I, they would show those movies on afternoon cinema. And I was hanging out with a couple of kids that were mostly older than me. So but we would play like Army Man game or something like that. But instead of army or carrying guns or whatever, we would like choose up who you're going to be. And the oldest kid, the one who always got to pick first, he was always like, I'm the fucking Wolfman, because for whatever reason, he's like, the Wolfman is the coolest. So I loved Frankenstein, and it wasn't any big deal that I would always default back to Frankenstein. So, but it was the most ridiculous thing seeing like 3 or 4 kids walking around the yard pretending to be fucking monsters. I'm back there doing this shit.
Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, fuck you. The interview's over. I don't know what the point of the game was, but we had a good time.
That's it. We had to use our imaginations back then. Especially kids today, not so much.
Yeah, kids these days with their high top sneakers and their hula hoops.
Yeah.
This is what you get in like the library back in like, the late 70s, early 80s. And I made sure that I stole this from my library back in the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I can have it.
Tattoos are awesome. Love Frankenstein. I know Jimmy and Joe probably aren't quite as big Frankenstein fan as I am, but fuck those guys anyway, right?
Your latest movie is The Final Interview. How did that project come about?
After I made Celaturcica, I started working on this project called Pittsburgh Body Removal. It was a big project. For the next 5 years, I was having meetings in Los Angeles and trying to raise the money. And, we got really close, but the money people were still a little afraid of my name. When you look me up, it's the most disturbing movie and shit like that. They didn't want to put the couple $1 million that I was looking for into something of somebody they didn't really know, even though I've made 7 feature films. But to them, that I'm just the guy that cuts off nipples and smears shit in it.
Jimmy gets that a lot too.
I do, yeah, that's true.
He's always doing that.
Always shit smearing.
The money people pulled out. I'm going on 6 years without having to make a movie. But I never just made something to make something. Everything that I've created, it's always been something that's been very passionate about. When I came up with The Final Interview, I knew this was something that I can do on a smaller budget, but yet accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, and that's work with SAG actors and make a bigger underground movie, using like how I make movies, but bringing movie stars into this world. In my day job, I work on a lot of Hollywood movies. There's just lots of waste. And on my movies, it's not about that. It's the best of the best, and we get it done. So The Final Interview kind of came from that. With my producer, I can get these actors that I wanted. The script was really great. Once this was finished, I can kind of show the Hollywood people that I can make a fucking real movie.
How did you end up working with Diane Franklin?
Yeah, so the movie takes place in the 80s, and I wanted an 80s icon to be in the movie. The movie that I really loved Diane Franklin in is The Last American Virgin. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It has like the worst downer endings ever, and I love endings like that. My movies have endings like that. So she was first on the list. So when I reached out to her, I was like, hey, if you can put me in touch with your agent, I have a script for you. At that time, she was, I think, in between agents, and she's like, well, just send me the script. I sent her the script, and a few days later, she was like, I love it. I was just so excited because, you know, this is like one of my crushes, you know. I mean, I love Diane Franklin growing up. You know, I mean, she's been in like From Better Off Dead to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, of course, Amityville Horror 2, and she's awesome in that. She's just like one of the most beautiful, wonderful people I've ever met, so I was so happy to get her.
In the final interview, it's a movie about two guys talking for an hour and a half. Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I'm saying, is it easier to film a movie like that? It doesn't have a lot of locations and
Again, you know, I designed the movie as a budgetary reason. I knew I didn't have a lot of money, and the money that I had, I wanted to put towards the talent. I wrote what I can pull off. I didn't want to, you know, big explosions and whatever kind of shit. Like, I knew that I needed to make something that I could do on a certain budget. It was really cool because I kind of shot it like a play. Granger Hines, who plays Oliver Ross, and Damien Marusak, who plays Darius Tidman, those guys were doing like 18 pages day one and day two. I mean, they were just crushing it. What was good for me is that I had it set up like an interview. I had two cameras on them. That was the first too, having two cameras, where before all my other movies, I've shot only on one camera. I was able to move a lot faster. And, you know, we shot the movie in 9 days.
Yeah, and across the board, the acting is just phenomenal.
Thank you very much. Granger Hines, he's one of the best. Right before he came to the final interview, he was on, you know, Steven Soderbergh's The Knick, and, you know, he was in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. And right after, he went and did the Coen Brothers' Buster Scruggs. I couldn't ask for a better actor.
Yeah.
And a friend. I mean, like, you know, through this time, we've become really great friends, and he's so proud of the movie. That's why I can't wait for more people to see it. The movie is really an acting clinic on, you know, both these.
Oh, yeah, both of them.
Then Damien, the guy who plays the killer, Darius Tidman, he was in Cell Turcica, he was in Murder Collection, he was in Maskhead. So he's been like a toe tag regular. He's like one of my buddies who I just think is this unkept secret here in Pittsburgh. He's so great. He's such a great actor. And I just want to keep putting him in stuff because I think he's so great, and I want him to break. And I hope this is the movie that gets him out there.
In a role like that, he can almost come off as corny or too over the top, but he doesn't. He keeps it like kind of at this slow boil.
One of the things with all my films is realism. You know, these characters had to be real. The last thing I wanted was some super over the top, creepy guy on death row. When you watch those videos of Kemper and Dahmer and Bundy, you know, those guys are very calm and collected the way they talk, even though they're the biggest monsters there are.
Plus, you want him to be menacing, but not cartoony.
His look is menacing. Damien has those amazing eyes, and they're haunting.
When the movie starts and it has like this jazz score, which I do not associate with Fred Vogel.
Through my career, you know, I've made all different kinds of movies. You know, I'm in my 40s now. I want to tell adult tales. It's killing kids. Slasher style is just too easy for me, and it's something that I'm not interested in. I like dramas, you know, that have horror elements to it, you know, like stuff like David Lynch and David Cronenberg. I like movies like that, movies that make you think. I know I can do the gore. I know I can do all that stuff. I just wanted to try to do something really different and let people see, like, as my comeback, if you might want to call it. I wanted to show people that I can do anything.
I mean, it's obvious that you're constantly evolving, which I think you have to do as a...
You have to.
In order to stay relevant. Was Cell Turcica at all inspired by Bob Clark's Death Dream?
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't, but maybe it was. You know what I mean? I love Bob Clark for one. Black Christmas is like my favorite fucking movie, and I love Death Dream, and I love Bob's all of his other movies too, from like Porky to Christmas Story. It wasn't something that we're like, hey, let's make this like Death Dream. If anybody wants to, you know, say that it's similar, hey man, what a great movie to respect.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not calling Cell Turcica a ripoff or anything like that.
No.
Seems like we're always involved in Joe defending him having accused the director of remaking an older movie.
Yeah, I get people on the show just so I can insult them. It's great.
You had Barry Gillis all worked up about that with Psycho.
Which he's never seen, by the way.
The horror genre is the same formula, you know what I mean? Us as directors have to kind of come in and make our own picture out of it. We're pulling from all this great stuff that has influenced us through the years, you know, so.
So why did you establish Toe Tag Pictures in 2002? Was it simply that you just wanted complete creative freedom?
So I made August Underground in 2001. I wanted to start something new with my best friend from college, Jeremy Cruz. Jeremy at the time was going to the Tom Savini Makeup School. I was teaching there for 3 years, and then I ended up losing my job at the Savini School because of August Underground. And then when Jeremy graduated, I'm like, hey, I want to start something new. And we kind of pulled a few people in who we thought were very creative at the time. And that's how Toe Tag kind of got started. Toe Tag was a name that, you know, was fucking horror. My business cards were toe tags. And when we would go out and do conventions, we'd wear lab coats and covered in blood. We were very gimmicky. It was one of those things that kind of helped people get drawn to us. And then like, here's the sickest movie ever. They're like, oh, these guys look cool. They're like covered in blood and having fun and seem really nice. And then you show them August Underground or August Underground's mortem. And then, that's when things changed. It was actually the best thing that could have happened to me, because if I didn't lose my job there, I wouldn't have started Toe Tag. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have be where I'm at today. It was a great stepping stone for me. And I still teach to this day. I do work for the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. I teach classes, first graders to senior citizens and on sculpture and drawing and painting and things like that.
When do you cover nipple removal with them?
That's for the kids.
Are there any other contemporary special effects artists you aspire to or are inspired by?
Those are like the first guys that I really admired. I didn't admire, artists like Van Gogh and Picasso and stuff like that. I admired Rick Baker and Rob Bottin and Steve Johnson and Stan Winston, Screaming Matt George. The list goes on and on. I can go all day talking about all the amazing makeup artists out there who have inspired me. And I think back to like Jack Pierce, who created the Frankenstein monster. Frankenstein is catching up to 100 years old, and that makeup is still timeless. When I go do a demonstration for these little kids, I'll bring in a Frankenstein head, and every little kid knows that's Frankenstein. It's amazing that somebody born in 2010 or whatever knows that that's the Frankenstein monster. That's pretty amazing achievement to have.
Directly related to him, it didn't have anything to do with the original novel. Square-headed, iconic imagery that you see that everybody recognizes. That's it. You associate with him. You don't really associate with any other version of that either. It's that, the one that he created for Karloff. What would Frankenstein look like to the world if he hadn't made that makeup? Of the three films, which one is your preferred?
Well, the original. Is Bride the better movie? Absolutely. The storytelling's better. It has that mixture of humor in there. The way Jack Pierce has the monster's makeup change and his hair grow throughout the course of the film is just brilliant. But I saw the first Frankenstein first as a kid, so I think it's like chasing the dragon. I think that's why it's my favorite. But, if I was going to say which one's the better movie, Bride is definitely the better movie.
Speaking of the humor in Bride of Frankenstein, for such a somber film, there was a couple times in Final Interview that had some great laughs. I mean, I think my family thought I was insane when I just started cracking up a couple times out of nowhere watching this very serious, very dark movie. Like the first time I can think of offhand is Oliver arriving at the prison, and he says something along the lines of, I like this place, and the warden says something along the lines of, oh, so I assume you like the smell of urine and sweaty balls, huh? Yeah. That was great.
The writer of the script, Rebecca Swan, her writing is just brilliant. She knows where to throw those little bits of humor in there.
Now, you're talking about people recognizing Frankenstein. Obviously, you didn't wear any creature makeup in August Underground, so are you ever recognized as the killer from that out on the streets?
I was in the airport in Holland one time, and somebody came up to me and was an August Underground fan, and they spotted me, and they're like, couldn't believe that I was in Europe. I've been at the gym. I've had people come up to me and, hey, are you that guy from that movie? It's awesome that my movies get out there. It's like they're true underground films. Like you have to really seek them out. My movies are hard to get, which I like. That's the true meaning of underground movies, especially when I started getting into them. You just couldn't go buy Cannibal Holocaust. You couldn't just go buy Candy Snatchers and Last House on the Left. They were hard to find.
Do you have plans to keep your stuff from getting in the circulation of streaming platforms, or is that something that you might be interested in?
For the Final Interview, we're going to do streaming. Right now, it's all about selling the special edition. We put this really great 3-disc special edition out with the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the CD, and it comes with photo cards and evidence pack. As a collector of stuff like that, I wanted to make sure that my fans were able to get something really cool before it does get picked up, and then it's in a crappy regular Blu-ray case. It's missing the art. Toe Tag has always been about the art, and even though this movie's not a Toe Tag movie, it's still me, and I'm still an artist, so I wanted to make sure that, we did a really great packaging for this.
Yes, and I will advocate for the package. I got the special edition. It's awesome. Not only is the movie cool, but all the bonus stuff that comes with it just kind of adds to the experience. Awesome. Does CG gore make you cringe?
If it's done right, if it's married with practical effects, I don't mind it. But people are just lazy, and it's easier just to throw Peter blood splatter on the wall. And, I'm a practical guy. I like spraying real fake blood.
I get it. For insurance reasons, you might not want to light a person on fire these days, or you can't afford to film out in the red desert or whatever. You might CG that background, but the blood splattering on a wall, like you said, it's the most disappointing aspect. And you see it in big movies. You can't have a squib. What's going on here?
There's an art form to splattering blood, and that's why our stuff just stuck. People are like, oh my God, those effects look so real. It's because we really took the time to make sure that all the effects were done like how they would really be done if they were an actual wound.
Jimmy really kills people if you ever need some research done. As you can see, he's stone cold murder. Look at those eyes of stone.
Murder.
So what exactly do you do at the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust?
I teach. I'm a teaching artist. Sometimes I'll teach like city kids how to sculpt and play with clay or how to paint and draw. You know, when you ask a little kid, hey, do you want to see like how to make a cut off finger? You know, they were all like, yeah. And that's
So in a world of reboots and remakes, do you see anyone tackling August Underground in the near future, making a big budget? Brett Ratner's August Underground, or?
I don't think people would want to tread there. What makes August Underground is just how raw and brutal and nihilistic it is. I get asked all the time if I'm making another one. I made 3 of the most disturbing movies that I possibly could, and they're still talked about to this day. Like, what's the point? You know, how many more nipples do I got to cut off? How many dicks do I got to cut off? You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's a question we all have to cross at some point.
Yeah.
How many dicks do I have to cut?
How many dicks?
Isn't that a Janis Joplin
How
song?
many more dicks?
but you know, when in 2001, you know, not many people were cutting off dicks. This guy.
Right.
Fred's a pioneer in dick cutting, so there you go. You heard it here first.
Well, it's hard to knock Elijah Wood because he's a huge horror fan, and
He absolutely is. He champions it, and like we need people like that from the outside, you know, to keep making cool stuff. And Elijah's doing that, you know.
I always get him and Tobey Maguire mixed up for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, what we have is we do a weekly quiz here, and basically it's a music lyric quiz, movie quote quiz, and then a couple other goofy things. Are you up to give that a shot?
Sure.
So how this works on the music lyric quiz, I'll read a couple lines from a song. You tell me the subsequent line, the name of the band, and the name of the song. Oh yes, yeah. Well, I have to remind you that we have a couple of completely useless lifelines here.
Ouch.
Okay.
If you can't get it or it just doesn't ring a bell, you can reach out to either one of these two. And this applies to the music and the movie quote. They will help you answer it. If you don't know it, ask for Jimmy or Joe, and they'll help you with this, or at least they will pretend to help you with this.
Yeah, and by Joe, we mean Jimmy again.
No.
The first lyrics are, pick up the phone, I'm here alone, or make a social call, come right in, forget about him. What's the next line?
Dirty deeds.
Nice job, Joe.
I'm sorry, Fred. That was my mistake.
ruined Christmas.
Don't hold it against him. Hold it against me.
Yeah, Joe's on a roll.
I want the fucking point though. I knew it was.
Yeah,
You got it. You got it. That was my mistake, not yours.
Well, don't sweat it either way. He was going to get that. The next line was, again?
Joe.
Nope, you do it. I got yelled at. Now my feelings are hurt.
Okay, well, we'll give you some time to cry.
Say it to me again, please.
Okay, pick up the phone, I'm here alone, or make a social call. Come right in, forget about him.
And have yourself a ball.
Boom.
Yes, and the band is...
AC/DC.
Name of the song is...
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Awesome. We just got to get Joe to show a little... He gets very excited, has to blurt out the answer.
I very rarely can help with the music trivia.
He was excited.
I always
I know.
shoot off quickly. Ask anyone.
Anybody. All right, the second one is sent to spy on a Cuban talent show. First stop, Havana, a go-go. I used to make a living, man. What's the next line?
Can you say it one more time, please?
Sent to spy on a Cuban talent show. First stop, Havana, a go-go. I used to make a living, man. And you got lifelines, too.
I'm going to go with Jimmy for my lifeline.
It's something about a banana, right?
It is something about a banana. What is it, though?
Smoking a banana or slip on a banana. Something.
You smoke so many bananas that you got the music line mixed up. All right, we'll let you have that. It was Picking the Banana. Picking the Banana. Who is the band and what's the name of the song?
That would be the Ramones' Havana Affair.
You got it. Okay, 2 for 2. Even though Jimmy just let us know that he favors smoking the banana.
So to speak.
All right, now there's some debate that thing you just did right there.
Yeah.
Is that just like is that middle out or what is that?
That's the Dirty Bird.
That's the Dirty Bird. So that's not middle out then.
No, middle out's only with 2 and no mouth work.
Okay. 2 for 2 on the music. We'll move right over to the movie quote portion. This is a little bit different. The lifelines are the same. All you have to do is identify the character in the movie and the name of the movie. And if you don't know the guy's name or the actor, you just say, hey, the guy with the brown hair or whatever.
Okay.
The first one is, do you see what happens, Larry? Do you see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
Is this a horror movie that we're talking about, or?
But there can be horror movies. We don't stay strictly to horror.
Okay.
You see what happens, Larry? Do you see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
Oh man.
And you have lifelines too.
I want to go with Joe for my lifeline.
John Goodman and Big Lebowski.
It is John Goodman in The Big Lebowski.
It is,
Walter Sobchak, classic line.
See, even after you hurt my feelings, Fred, I still helped you out.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Well, Fred didn't hurt your feelings. I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I expected it from Gene, but not Fred.
Well, we can get together and cry after the episode's over. Okay, so you're rocking 3 for 3. The last one is by far the most difficult one, but I think you might have some insight on this one. I will read the quote. Tell me the name of the movie and the character that says it. Make your ever-loving brother happy. And I'll give you a hint because it's a little bit out of nowhere. That is a Western.
It's a Western.
It's a Western. Make your ever-loving brother happy.
Is it Tombstone?
It is not. We'll still let you try with a lifeline to get this because you're so close to going 4 for 4.
All right, I'm going to go with Joe again.
All right, Joe, make your ever-loving brother happy.
No, I'm going to think about it for a minute. But go ahead and maybe Jimmy knows.
I retain nothing.
Do you know it, Joe?
Is it James?
Fistful of Dollars?
No, it actually isn't one of the Clint Eastwood movies. It is Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh, yes.
When he makes Bronson's brother stand on his shoulder with the harmonica jammed in his throat, he says, make your ever-loving brother happy. By Frank, played by Henry Fonda.
Good questions. Good questions.
You mentioned Leone earlier on. I'm like, he's going to ace that one. But it's a great quote, but it's not one that some people repeat so much like the Clint Eastwood ones.
Yeah.
Still, though, 3 out of 4 is excellent. We usually do about 1 out of 4.
Thank you guys for helping me out with that.
Well, the party isn't over yet. Are you up for doing a Werner Herzog impersonation?
Come on.
Dip into your acting toolbox.
Klaus, get off my fucking set, Klaus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a lot better than most of the ones we've had. So.
Yeah.
Although I will say Burke last week did an excellent. That one was just next level, even though it was actually Udo Kier. And
he cheated. Udo Kier.
Do you remember Mad Libs when you were a kid?
Yep.
Well, Joe, he's an author. He writes short stories and whatnot. He writes a Mad Lib story for each of our guests each week. Give me a large animal.
An elephant.
Your favorite restaurant.
Oh, God. El Campesino. It's a Mexican restaurant by me in Pittsburgh here.
Your favorite breakfast food.
A breakfast sandwich.
What is a breakfast sandwich anyway?
You know, eggs, cheese, and some sort of meat on bread. I'm from New Jersey, and like breakfast sandwiches are like the king there, you know?
Right. That's dialect we wouldn't know here in Nashville.
I know what he meant.
We don't get any good breakfast sandwiches here.
But when you say breakfast sandwich in Nashville, who knows what the fuck you're going to end up with? Could be a hot dog. So
it'll be on a biscuit.
Put it on a pancake and roll it up. A vegetable that you hate. And don't say Jimmy.
Oh, God, I love all vegetables.
The one you love the least.
Cauliflower.
A type of hat.
A top hat.
Good call.
Your favorite ice cream treat.
Klondike bar.
What would you do?
They originated from Pittsburgh. A little trivia for you guys.
Oh, wow.
Your favorite cartoon.
Tom and Jerry.
And a type of fluid.
A vaginal discharge.
There you go.
Oh, Lord.
I knew I had to do the heavy hitter for Jimmy.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
We were worried it wasn't going to be August Underground until you got to the vaginal.
Yeah, right. I would have been disappointed if you said like radiator fluid or something.
Yeah.
You could have said breakfast sandwich was the vaginal discharge sandwich. But for some reason, after somebody saying the last Cruddy Joe story was too long, Joe decided to double it in length. As I will eat my words trying to read this.
Is Hugh Jackman in it?
You know, I don't read these before. That's part of the humor is watching me crash into the wall trying to read this shit. If I practice it, it would be.
You complain about the length of the story, but come on, it's for Fred. You got to impress Fred. I mean, look at him. You got to impress him.
He's got his arms full. When are these guys going to shut up? Okay, this story is called Fred Renews His License. One morning, Fred realized he had to renew his driver's license. Despite being annoyed, Fred jumped on his elephant and headed for the DMV. On his way, Fred stopped at the El Campesino for breakfast. Inside, Fred ordered a breakfast sandwich. I don't make that shit, Handsome Jimmy yelled from the grill. Fred looked down at his satchel but then thought better of it. The waiter brought Fred a frittata with a cup of coffee. There's too many fucking F's in that sentence, Joe.
Alliteration is important.
Yeah, I know. Once you put 7 F's in a sentence, that's my brain
I have
starts.
one more F for you, Gene.
Yeah, fuck that.
I got 2 for you, fucker.
Now you're discriminating.
Okay. Well, I don't attempt to. It just happens naturally. Okay. Fred poked at the eggs with his fork, but with the discovery of cauliflower, he threw the frittata on the ground and told the waiter to fuck off. Hey, Jimmy yelled from the grill. Don't talk to my idiots like that. All these assholes work for me. Fred once again looked at his satchel, thought better of it, and left without paying. Finally, at the DMV, Fred was downtrodden to find a long line in the lobby. Hugh Jackman was working at the counter. and he was slow as hell. Fortunately, once everybody saw Fred, they all left. Fred approached the counter, and Hugh Jackman spread out 7 copies of his own movies. How many of my movies have you seen, he asked. Fred perused the titles and replied, I don't know, maybe 2. You just failed the written exam, mister, Hugh said, hugging all of his movies and then putting them back in his golden safe. I will meet you outside for the driving portion, Hugh said, nodding towards the exit. Fred reached for his sapple. Fuck is a sapple? Fred reached for his satchel, then stopped and went outside. Fred had been smoking for 20 minutes when Hugh finally came out carrying a clipboard and wearing a top hat. For the first portion of the driving test, you will watch me drive, Hugh said. Wait, how does that test me? Fred asked. Well, first you need to see how to do it right, Hugh Jackman replied sarcastically. Don't tell me how to do my job or I'll write something mean about you on my clipboard. What is going on? As they drove, Hugh Jackman played John Tesh on the radio, which pushed Fred even closer to the edge. Hugh then turned into a nearby Dairy Queen where he insisted he buy Fred a Klondike bar. Once they got their snacks, Hugh said, if you drip ice cream on the car, I'll write something mean about you on my clipboard, he warned. When Hugh Jackman got a brain freeze from eating his ice cream too fast, then he cried like a bitch. In another hour or two, I'll probably let you drive, Hugh Jackman says as they drove through the city, still listening to John Tesh. Just down the alley is a secret nuclear reactor, Hugh said, pointing to his left. There's no nuclear reactor in this neighborhood, Fred said, now graduating from annoyed to angry. You just don't know about it because it's a secret, dummy. Professor X told me. Finally, Fred reached into his satchel, pulled out a hammer, and bashed in Hugh Jackman's skull. Jackman's lifeless body slumped over the steering wheel as he leaned on the accelerator. The car barreled down the alleyway and, sure enough, right into a secret nuclear reactor disguised as Starbucks. The reactor exploded, destroying half the city. And suddenly, Handsome Jimmy appeared out of nowhere, where he pulled Hugh Jackman's lifeless corpse out of the wreckage and covered it in a Hello Kitty comforter after crying out to the heavens. Suddenly, Handsome Jimmy's mom appeared and led him to the car by his earlobe. I told you at least 4 times not to play by the secret nuclear reactor, she scolded. Besides, what are you doing in Pittsburgh, young man? Forlorn, Jimmy got into his mom's car knowing once again he was about to go get his bottom busted. Downtrodden from having blown up half the city, Fred picked up his friend Gino and they went to Birksall's underground bunker in West Memphis. What the fuck? Wearing matching Tom and Jerry footsie pajamas, the boys drank vaginal discharge and watched Burke's plethora of stolen Pauly Shore movies until way past their bedtime. The end.
I'll start putting phonetic pronunciations in it if you like.
There you go. Did you guys see my frittata from the other day?
That's the one with the mushrooms, right?
Pretty fucking good, right?
No, that's disgusting.
Yeah, mushrooms are gross. You know that.
Why mushrooms are gross? Why?
You know what they grow out of?
Just because they grow in shit?
They're made out of semen.
All right, I didn't know that. I made a delicious vegetable frittata, though. It was very good. That's all I got for you.
My breakfast sandwich.
So you're telling me that you made some food, and that's all? That's what the Cruddy cuisine has come to now.
No.
I made some fucking eggs.
I also made some gumbo this week. Have you ever made gumbo? It's not easy. It's very delicate. You have to make a roux, and it's got to be perfect, or you got to throw it out and start over, which I've had to do before, but not this time. I made a delicious roux. It was beautiful. And then I put sausage and chicken in it. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Hey, my kids ate it, and they didn't bitch.
Is that the full Cruddy cuisine?
I think so. What else? Frittata, gumbo. What more do you want from me? I got one challenge in the feed during the airing of the last podcast from Lisa. She said quiche. And I was like, it's like a frittata. It's too close. I need something more complicated, something new.
We'll work out the details to this challenge and see how that plays out. Until then, Jimmy will continue to tell us what he had for dinner.
Hey, McNasty, which of the known guitar players in the world do you think your playing style is most similar to? And could you give me that answer in rhyming form, please?
You asked me a question. You may disagree. But here's my short answer. No secret by me. Mostly a little from here and from there. Bits and pieces from everywhere. Try and try, oh, I've aspired to be, for there is no greater, no higher than he, the one, the only, Saint Malcolm Young. But alas, I play more like a pile of dung.
And the movie is The Final Interview. Get out there and buy it.
Here it is. This is The Final Interview. It's my brand new movie. It's a 3-disc special collector's edition. There are only 1,983 copies of these. So once they are gone, they are gone. And then, you know, what happens is if you missed a boat on this, then you're, Fred, where can I get The Final Interview? It's cost $400 on eBay. And it's like, well, you should have fucking bought one when it was $50.
How do they get that?
If you go to thefinalinterviewmovie.com, you can purchase the movie right from there. You know, all proceeds go to me paying back myself for making this movie because that's how independent people do it. It's a long road, but it's very rewarding for me to make movies for you guys. And please support the underground and other independent filmmakers and buy their movies.
That's all we got for this week, weirdos. I want to thank, of course, the Getty Along Gang. We have handsome Jimmy Hansen and the brains behind everything, Cruddy Joe, Mr. Gino Roy, the Wizard Coffinberry. And we'd especially like to thank our guest tonight, Mr. Fred Vogel. Appreciate you wasting all this time with us, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I got to tell you, I got a little nervous when my mom showed up and I knew that the words vaginal discharge were coming.
Well, you know, whenever we think about your mom, that's the first thing we're thinking about.
Right.
Kill you and your family and everyone associated with you.